If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge. And when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the podcast. Chapter 1. The Final Breath. Departure of the Soul. Part 1. The Moment of Death. As the life force leaves the body, the soul separates from its earthly home. This moment is like water flowing from a broken pot. The soul moves away from flesh and bone that can no longer hold it. The wise ones tell us that what we think in our final breath matters greatly. If our mind holds pure thoughts of God, we find peace. If we think of worldly things or feel fear, we face struggle. These final thoughts do not come by chance. They grow from how we lived our whole life. A person who spent years in prayer and good deeds will naturally think holy thoughts when death comes. Their mind turns to the divine like a flower turns to the sun. But one who lived only for pleasure and gain will find their mind filled with worry about the things they must leave behind. The body becomes cold and still, but the soul continues its journey. Death is not the end of our story. It is like taking off old clothes and putting on new ones. The soul never dies. It only moves from one form to another. Our past actions, both good and bad, create the path the soul must take. Those who lived with kindness and truth find their journey smooth and bright. Those who caused harm or lived in ignorance face a darker, more difficult road. This is the law that governs all beings. The soul carries with it the seeds of its next life. These seeds were planted by every choice we made, every word we spoke, every action we took. A life filled with love and service creates seeds of joy. A life of anger and greed creates seeds of suffering. This is why the scriptures tell us to prepare for death while we still live. We should fill our days with prayer, good deeds, and remembrance of God. We should treat others with kindness and speak only truth. We should give to those in need and help those who suffer. When we live this way, death becomes not something to fear, but something to welcome. It becomes the doorway through which we pass to reach our true home. The soul that leaves the body with thoughts of God finds itself free from the cycle of birth and death forever. Part 2. Paths of Departure in the Scriptures. When the soul leaves the body at death, the sacred texts tell us there are two different roads it may travel. These paths are called the bright path and the dark path. The road the soul takes depends on how a person lived their life and how much they knew God. The bright path is for those who spent their lives in prayer and devotion. These souls knew God in their hearts. They practiced good deeds and followed the teachings of the scriptures. They meditated and controlled their desires. When death comes to such a person, their soul rises upward like smoke from a pure flame. This path leads through higher worlds filled with light and peace. The soul travels through realms where divine beings dwell. Finally, it reaches the highest place where there is no more birth and death. This is called liberation. The dark path is for ordinary souls who lived normal lives. These people were not evil, but they did not spend much time thinking about God. They were busy with worldly things like family, work, and pleasures. They did good deeds sometimes and bad deeds sometimes. When death comes to such souls, they travel a different road. This path leads them back to earth to be born again in new bodies. They must live many more lives until they learn to love God fully. The bright path souls travel during the bright half of the year when the sun moves north. They pass through fire, light, day, and the bright moon. Angels and divine beings guide them upward. Each step takes them closer to God. These souls never return to earthly life again. The dark path souls travel during the dark half of the year when the sun moves south. They pass through smoke, night, darkness, and the waning moon. They go to the moon realm first, where they enjoy the fruits of their good deeds. When those rewards are finished, they fall back like rain. They become plants, then food, then enter new wombs to be born again as humans or animals. Which path a soul takes is decided by three things. First is devotion to God. Those who pray daily and remember God's name are prepared for the bright path. Second is self-knowledge. Those who understand they are souls, not bodies, travel upward. Third is following religious duties. Those who perform proper rituals and live righteously earn divine protection. The scriptures warn us that we cannot choose our path at the moment of death. The choice is made by how we live each day. A person who thinks only of worldly pleasures will naturally think of such things when dying. A person who fills their mind with thoughts of God will remember God at death. This is why wise people spend their whole lives preparing for that final moment. Those who want to take the bright path must practice discipline every day. They should wake early and pray. They should read holy books and visit temples. They should help the poor and speak truthfully. They should control anger and greed. Most important, they should always remember that God lives in their heart. When such a person dies, their soul rises toward the light, like a bird flying home to its nest. Part 3. The Witness of Yama. After the soul follows either the bright path or the dark path, it comes before Yama, the Lord of Death. Yama is not someone to fear. He is fair and kind. He watches over the balance of all good and bad actions that each person has done during their life. When someone dies, their soul travels to meet Yama. He sits in his court like a wise king. Next to him stands Chitragupta, his helper who keeps records. Chitragupta has written down every single thing the person did while they were alive. Nothing is forgotten. Every kind word, every cruel act, every time they helped someone, every time they caused harm, all of it is written in his books. Yama looks at these records carefully. He weighs the good actions against the bad actions. He does not judge with anger or hate. He judges with perfect fairness. If someone lived a good life and helped others, Yama treats them with respect and kindness. If someone did many wrong things, Yama still treats them fairly, but they must face the results of their choices. Yama keeps order in the universe. He makes sure that good people get rewards and that people who did wrong face proper punishment. This is not about revenge. This is about learning and growing. Even when souls must face difficult times because of their bad actions, Yama guides them toward becoming better. The holy books tell us that Yama is actually compassionate. He wants every soul to learn from their mistakes and eventually find peace. When souls come before him, he explains what they did right and what they did wrong. He helps them understand how their actions affected others. This understanding helps the soul prepare for its next life or its next stage of growth. People who are still alive can help their loved ones who have died. They can perform special prayers called Shraddha. These ceremonies create good energy that reaches Yama's court. When families perform these rituals with love and respect, it pleases Yama. He becomes more favorable toward their departed family member. The Shraddha ceremonies also show Yama that the person who died was loved and remembered. This matters because it proves the person had good relationships and probably lived with some kindness. Families who neglect these duties make things harder for their departed loved ones. Yama reminds every soul that no action ever disappears. Every choice has results. Every word spoken in anger or love creates effects that must be balanced. This is not punishment for the sake of suffering. This is the natural law that helps souls learn and grow wiser. When souls understand this truth, they feel grateful for Yama's guidance. They see that his role helps maintain fairness in the universe. Without someone like Yama watching over actions and their results, good people would not be rewarded and bad actions would never be corrected. The wise person prepares for this meeting with Yama while still alive. They try to do more good than harm. They treat others with kindness. They speak truthfully and help those in need. Part 4. Ancestors and the Astral Journey. When a person dies, the soul begins a sacred journey through the space between worlds. This journey takes the soul to meet the Pitras, who are the spirits of all those who died before us in our family line. These ancestral beings live in a special realm where they watch over their living descendants and help guide new souls who have just left their earthly bodies. The funeral ceremonies that families perform are very important during this time. When people light sacred fires, offer food, and say prayers for the dead person, they create a safe path for the soul to travel. Without these rituals, the soul might become lost or confused. It could remain stuck between the world of the living and the world of the dead, unable to move forward properly. The holy books warn that families who forget to honor their ancestors will face troubles. When children and grandchildren stop making offerings or saying prayers for those who died, the family line becomes unbalanced. Arguments may break out between relatives, money problems might arise, sickness could visit the household. But when families remember their duty to the ancestors, good things come to them. The Pitras send blessings of health, wealth, and happiness to those who take care of them properly. During this time between death and rebirth, the soul exists in what the scriptures call the astral state. Here, the soul is not in a physical body, but still has form and awareness. This period serves as a time of healing and preparation. The soul slowly lets go of its strong feelings about earthly life, love for family members, anger about past hurts, and desires for worldly things begin to fade away. How well the soul does during this astral journey depends on two main things. First, the rituals and prayers that living family members perform make a big difference. When relatives offer rice, water, and sacred food to the ancestors, this helps nourish and comfort the departed soul. Second, the soul's own past actions determine how easy or difficult this journey will be. A person who lived with kindness and followed Dharma will find the astral journey peaceful. Such souls move easily toward the ancestral realm where they can rest and gain wisdom. But those who committed many harmful acts during life may struggle during this transition. They might feel heavy with guilt or find themselves pulled back toward earthly desires. The wise person prepares for this journey while still alive by treating ancestors with respect. They perform Shraddha ceremonies on the proper days. They remember the names of their forefathers and grandmothers in their prayers. They understand that death is not the end of family connections, but simply a change in how those connections work. This astral period teaches us that death does not cut all bonds between family members. Love and duty continue even after the physical body dies. The living help the dead, and the dead bless the living. This creates an endless circle of care that connects all generations together in sacred harmony. Part 5. Liberation at the moment of death. Whatever state of being one remembers when he gives up his body, that state he will reach without fail. The mind at the time of death is what determines where the soul goes next. Therefore, at all times, remember me and fight. With your mind and intelligence fixed upon me, you will come to me without doubt. If you practice remembering the Supreme Lord constantly, your mind will not wander to other things at the final hour. The soul that departs the body remembering me alone will reach my nature. Those who think of other things at death go to whatever they were thinking about. The body dies, but the soul continues its journey. What fills the mind in those last moments shapes the soul's path forward. This is why wise people train their minds throughout their lives. They practice keeping God in their thoughts every day. They do not wait until death approaches to begin this work. Morning prayers, evening worship, and constant remembrance build the habit of divine focus. A devotee who has spent years thinking of God will naturally remember God when death comes. Their final breath carries the same sacred thoughts that filled their daily life. Such a soul moves directly toward liberation from the cycle of birth and death. But those who fill their minds with desires, fears, and worldly attachments face a different destiny. If someone spends their life thinking only of family, wealth, or pleasure, these same thoughts will dominate their final moments. The soul then takes birth again to pursue what occupied the mind at death. Some people die thinking of their children or their property. Others remember old grudges or unfulfilled dreams. Still others leave their bodies while worrying about unfinished business. All these thoughts create chains that bind the soul to return to earthly life. The great yogis understand this truth. They practice meditation not just for peace during life, but to prepare for the moment of departure. They train their minds to rest in divine consciousness, no matter what happens around them. Pain, illness, or sudden death cannot disturb their inner focus on God. Even ordinary people can learn this practice. Simple repetition of God's names throughout the day builds strength for the final test. When breathing becomes difficult and the body grows weak, the trained mind automatically turns to its familiar refuge in the divine. Death becomes a doorway instead of an ending for such prepared souls. They leave behind all suffering and enter eternal peace. This is the highest goal of human life, to remember God at the moment of leaving the body, and thus gain freedom from rebirth forever. Chapter 2. Judgment and the Weighing of Karma. Part 1. The Accounting of Deeds. When the soul leaves the body at death, it carries with it the full record of all its deeds. Every action performed in life, every thought that arose in the mind, and every intention held in the heart creates a mark upon the soul. These marks are called karma, and they travel with the soul wherever it goes. The sacred texts teach that nothing is forgotten. Even the smallest kindness or the most secret wrongdoing remains recorded in the soul's being. Like seeds that must grow into plants, these karmic impressions must produce their results. Good deeds create good karma that brings happiness. Bad deeds create bad karma that brings suffering. After death, the soul encounters Chitragupta, the divine keeper of records who serves Lord Yama, the ruler of death. Chitragupta maintains perfect accounts of every soul's actions throughout all its lifetimes. His records contain no errors and show no favoritism. Rich or poor, king or beggar, all souls are measured by the same divine standard. The weighing of karma happens with absolute fairness. Human courts may make mistakes or show bias, but this cosmic judgment operates with perfect truth. No soul can hide its deeds or claim innocence when guilt exists. No good deed goes unrewarded, and no evil act escapes consequence. The soul's immediate destination after death depends entirely on the balance of its karma. Those whose good deeds outweigh their bad actions move toward realms of joy and pleasure. Those whose evil deeds are heavier face realms of suffering and pain. This is not punishment for its own sake, but the natural result of choices made during life. The scriptures make clear that nothing happens by chance. Every experience the soul faces after death connects directly to actions performed while living. A person who lived with kindness and truth will find kindness and truth waiting after death. One who lived with cruelty and lies will face the fruits of such behavior. This divine accounting serves a greater purpose. When people understand that all deeds will be measured, they are encouraged to live righteously. Knowing that secret actions will be revealed and that justice will surely come, wise individuals choose the path of Dharma in their daily lives. The soul cannot escape this reckoning through clever arguments or earthly power. Only the true record of its actions determines its fate. This teaches that moral choices made today shape the experiences that await beyond death. Part 2. Naraka and Swarga. According to the sacred teachings, when souls have completed their accounting before the divine judges, they are sent to places that match their deeds. These are called Naraka and Swarga. Those whose actions were filled with harm, cruelty, and selfishness are taken to Naraka. This is a place of suffering where souls must face the pain they caused others. The scriptures tell us there are many different types of Naraka, each one made to teach the soul about its wrong actions. If someone stole from others, they will experience the pain of having nothing. If someone hurt animals needlessly, they will feel that same pain. If someone lied and cheated, they will face the confusion and fear they caused others to feel. Each form of suffering in Naraka directly connects to the harmful actions the soul performed during its life on earth. But Naraka is not forever. The soul stays there only as long as needed to learn from its mistakes and burn away the bad karma it created. Once this cleansing is complete, the soul can move forward to its next birth. Those who lived with kindness, truth, and service to others are taken to Swarga, the heavenly realms. Here, souls enjoy wonderful experiences as reward for their good actions. They may experience perfect health, beautiful surroundings, and freedom from worry and pain. In Swarga, those who help the poor will have abundance. Those who showed mercy will receive comfort. Those who protected others will feel completely safe. Every good deed creates its matching reward in the heavenly places. Just like Naraka, Swarga is also temporary. When souls have enjoyed the fruits of their good karma, they too must return for another birth. Neither suffering nor pleasure lasts forever in these divine realms. The wise teachers tell us that both Naraka and Swarga serve the same purpose. They teach souls about the results of their choices. Through experiencing the consequences of both good and bad actions, souls learn to choose wisely in future lives. Some say these places exist in subtle dimensions beyond our physical world. Others teach that they represent states of the mind and heart that the soul experiences. Whether seen as real places or inner conditions, the message remains the same. Every action we take today shapes where our soul will go after death. This truth encourages us to live with care and compassion, knowing that our choices create our future experiences. The scriptures remind us that no soul stays in Naraka or Swarga permanently. All souls eventually return to earthly life, carrying with them the lessons learned from their experiences in these divine realms. Part 3. The role of rituals by the living. When a person dies, their journey does not end. The body may be gone, but the soul continues. Hindu teachings tell us that what happens next depends greatly on what the living family members do. The sacred texts make clear that death creates a bridge between two worlds, and the living must help the departed soul cross this bridge safely. The moment death comes, the family begins special ceremonies called Antieshti. These are the last rites performed for the departed. The body is bathed, dressed in clean clothes, and prepared with care. Sacred fires are lit and prayers are chanted. Every step follows ancient rules passed down through generations. These actions are not mere tradition, but spiritual necessities that help the soul begin its journey to the next realm. The most important duty falls upon sons, though daughters may also participate. They must perform Shraddha ceremonies regularly after the death. The word Shraddha means faith and devotion toward ancestors. These rituals involve offering food, water, and prayers to the departed soul. The sacred texts teach that souls in the afterlife depend on these offerings for nourishment and comfort. When family members prepare rice balls called pinda and offer them with water, they are feeding their ancestors' subtle body. This subtle body exists between death and rebirth. Without these offerings, the soul may wander hungry and confused. It may become what the scriptures call a preta, a restless spirit unable to move forward on its path. The timing of these rituals matters greatly. For the first 10 days after death, daily offerings must be made. Then monthly ceremonies continue for a full year. After that, yearly Shraddha on the death anniversary ensures the ancestor receives continued support. Each ritual creates a spiritual connection that transcends the physical world. Sons carry special responsibility because the ancient texts declare that a son's duties to his father do not end with death. The very word putra means one who saves his father from hell. This sacred obligation passes from father to son across all generations. When sons fail to perform these rites, both they and their ancestors suffer the consequences. The scriptures warn that neglecting funeral duties creates serious problems. The departed soul may become trapped between worlds, unable to reach its proper destination. This causes suffering for both the dead and the living. The family may experience misfortune, illness, or spiritual disturbance until proper rituals restore balance. These practices reveal a fundamental truth about existence. Death does not break family bonds, but transforms them. The living and the dead remain connected through love, duty, and spiritual obligation. When we care for our ancestors through ritual, we honor the continuity of life itself. We acknowledge that we too will one day depend on our children for the same sacred service. Part 4. Yama's Dharma Sabha. After the living complete their sacred duties to the departed, the soul journeys to a place of divine judgment. The ancient texts tell us of Yama's Dharma Sabha, a great court where truth itself sits as judge. When the soul arrives at this celestial assembly, it stands before Yama, the Lord of Death and Righteousness. This is no ordinary court. Here, divine beings gather as witnesses, and the soul's own actions speak louder than any testimony. Nothing can be hidden in this sacred hall. Every thought, every deed, every intention from the soul's earthly life appears clearly before all present. The assembly examines each action carefully. Good deeds shine like bright lights, while harmful actions cast dark shadows. The soul cannot lie or make excuses. Its entire life story unfolds with perfect clarity. Witnesses come forward. Sometimes they are gods who watched over the person's life. Sometimes they are the very impressions left by the soul's own actions. In this divine court, justice flows with absolute fairness. No favoritism exists. No bribes can change the outcome. Rich or poor, powerful or weak, all souls receive the same careful examination. The court weighs each life according to Dharma, the eternal law of righteousness. Those who lived with kindness, honesty, and devotion find their good actions speaking strongly in their favor. Those who caused harm, spoke lies, or acted selfishly must face the consequences of these choices. The assembly grants rewards to the virtuous and assigns proper consequences to those who strayed from righteous paths. This divine process operates with perfect order. Nothing happens by chance or mistake. Each soul receives exactly what its actions have earned. The court's decisions reflect the cosmic balance that governs all existence. Though this description uses symbols and images, it teaches a powerful truth. Every choice we make in life matters deeply. We cannot escape the results of our actions by dying. The divine order sees all things clearly and judges with perfect wisdom. This teaching encourages people to live righteously. When we know that our actions will be examined by divine justice, we naturally choose to act with greater care and compassion. The Dharma Sabha reminds us that cosmic justice, though beyond our complete understanding, operates with perfect order and absolute fairness in all matters. Part 5. The Intercession of Grace. When a soul has lived with true love and devotion to God, something wonderful can happen. The Lord can show mercy that goes beyond all karmic laws. If someone has genuine bhakti, deep devotion to Vishnu, Shiva, or the Divine Mother, that soul may not need to face the usual judgment. The ancient scriptures tell us that God's love is so powerful it can wipe away the results of many lifetimes of actions. Even if someone has done wrong things, the moment they surrender completely to the divine, all their bad karma can disappear. This happens not because they earned it, but because God chooses to show compassion. Saints have taught that when we truly give our hearts to the Lord, He becomes our protector. Even in Yama's court where all souls are judged, the devoted soul finds that God stands beside them as their defender. The Lord speaks for them and takes away their burden of past actions. This teaching shows us that karma is not the only law that governs what happens after death. Divine grace can step in and change everything. A person who has lived their whole life in sin can still find salvation if they turn to God with a pure heart at the right moment. This creates great hope for all people. No matter what we have done wrong, we can still find mercy through devotion. The path of bhakti offers freedom from fear because we trust that God's love is stronger than our mistakes. Yet this does not mean we should live carelessly and expect God to save us. True devotion requires a sincere heart. We cannot fool the divine with false surrender. The Lord sees into our hearts and knows whether our devotion is real or pretended. This balance between karma and grace shows the complete nature of Hindu teachings. Justice exists and works perfectly, but love also exists and can overcome justice when the conditions are right. Both truth and mercy have their place in the divine order. For those who choose the path of devotion, death becomes less frightening. They know that their beloved Lord will not abandon them when they face judgment. This faith gives them peace and courage as they live their lives, knowing that divine love watches over them always. Chapter 3. The Wheel of Rebirth. Souls Return to Earth. Part 1. The Doctrine of Samsara. The Doctrine of Samsara. The sacred texts teach us about Samsara, the great wheel that turns without end. This wheel carries all souls through birth, death, and birth again. Like a river that flows forever, souls move from one body to another, never stopping, never resting. The soul itself never dies. It is eternal, like the sun that sets only to rise again. Yet this deathless soul becomes bound to the world of matter through its own desires and actions. Every thought, every deed, every wish creates invisible threads that tie the soul to earthly existence. The wise ones tell us that ignorance wraps around the soul like darkness covers the earth at night. This ignorance makes the soul forget its true nature. It makes the soul believe that the body is real and permanent. This false belief creates endless wanting and fear. Karma acts as the great law that governs this wheel of rebirth. Good actions bring good results. Bad actions bring suffering. Neutral actions keep the wheel turning. No action goes without its proper result. The soul must experience every consequence of every choice made across countless lifetimes. Unlike teachings that speak of one life followed by eternal judgment, the sacred wisdom reveals existence as a school with many grades. Each life offers new lessons. Each death brings graduation to the next class. Some lives teach through joy, others teach through pain. All lives serve the soul's education. The ultimate goal stands clear before every soul. Moksha, the final liberation, waits at the end of all learning. This freedom means escape from the wheel of rebirth. It means the soul remembers its divine nature and returns to its source. Samsara presents both burden and blessing. The burden lies in repeated suffering, in forgetting divine truth again and again. The blessing lies in endless chances to grow, to learn, to move closer to freedom. Every rebirth offers fresh opportunity for spiritual progress. The scriptures compare life to a great school, where the soul attends class after class. Sometimes the soul learns quickly and advances. Sometimes the soul fails its tests and must repeat the grade. But the school never closes its doors. The divine teacher never gives up on any student. This teaching makes every moment precious. It makes every choice important. It reminds us that present actions shape future births. It calls us to use this human life wisely, for human birth offers the rare gift of self-awareness and the possibility of liberation. The wheel turns for all beings until each soul realizes its eternal, divine essence and steps off the wheel forever into perfect freedom. Part 2. Choosing the next womb. Choosing the next womb. When the time comes for the soul to take birth again, it does not happen by chance. The soul carries with it all the marks of its past actions. These marks are called vasanas. They are like deep impressions pressed into the soul's memory. Just as a person who loves music naturally moves toward music, the soul moves toward the birth that matches its deepest desires and past deeds. If a soul spent many lives being greedy, it will be pulled toward circumstances where it can work out this greed. If a soul was kind and generous, it will find birth in conditions that reflect this goodness. The Garuda Purana tells us that invisible guides lead the soul to its proper womb. These guides know the soul's karma better than the soul knows itself. They see which mother's womb will give the soul exactly what it needs for its next lessons. This is why some children are born into rich families and others into poor ones. This is why some are born healthy and others face illness from birth. This is why some are born into high castes and others into lower ones. It is not God being unfair. It is the soul receiving exactly what its past actions have earned. A soul that killed many animals may be born as an animal to understand suffering. A soul that gave food to hungry people may be born where food comes easily. A soul that studied holy books may be born with a sharp mind. A soul that ignored spiritual truth may be born where learning is difficult. The choice is not really a choice at all. The soul is pulled like iron to a magnet. Its vasanas are so strong that it cannot resist. It must go where they lead. The soul enters the womb that will give it the chance to balance its karmic debts. Even the timing of birth is fixed by karma. The stars and planets align in ways that match the soul's destiny. Nothing is random. Everything follows the law of cause and effect. This teaching makes us humble. We cannot look at a poor person and think we are better. We cannot see a sick child and feel superior. Each being is working out its own karmic story. Today's king may be tomorrow's beggar. Today's beggar may be tomorrow's sage. But this teaching also makes us responsible. Every thought we think, every word we speak, every action we take is planting seeds. These seeds will grow into our future births. If we plant good seeds today, we will harvest good births tomorrow. If we plant bad seeds today, we will face difficult births ahead. The soul cannot escape this law. It cannot bribe its way out. It cannot find shortcuts. Each soul must face exactly what it has created. This is both justice and mercy. Justice because we receive what we deserve. Mercy because we always get another chance to improve. Part 3. The 8.4 million life forms. The sacred texts tell us of the great journey every soul must make through countless forms of life. The Padma Purana teaches that there are 8,400,000 different species in creation. Every soul must pass through all these forms before it can find freedom. The soul begins its journey in the simplest forms. It may live as grass that grows in the field. It may be a small bug that crawls on the ground. It may swim as a fish in the river or fly as a bird in the sky. Life after life, the soul moves from one body to another. In most of these births, the soul cannot think about God. A tree cannot pray. An ant cannot study holy books. A cow cannot choose between right and wrong. These creatures live only by their nature. They eat, sleep, fear, and die. Through these births, the soul slowly burns away old karma, like fire burns wood. Birth after birth, the soul climbs higher. From plants, it moves to insects. From insects, it becomes fish. From fish, it becomes birds. From birds, it becomes animals. Each form of life is higher than the one before. But in all these forms, spiritual growth stops. The soul can only suffer or enjoy according to its past deeds. Finally, after millions and millions of births, the soul receives the most precious gift. It is born as a human being. This human birth is very rare. The scriptures say it is rarer than finding a jewel on the street. Out of all the countless souls in creation, very few get human birth. Why is human birth so special? Because only humans can think about their purpose. Only humans can choose between good and evil. Only humans can ask who they really are. Only humans can worship God and seek freedom from rebirth. Animals cannot do any of these things. The human birth is like being given a boat to cross a dangerous river. The river is samsara, the endless cycle of birth and death. The boat is our human intelligence and free will. If we use this boat wisely, we can reach the other shore, which is moksha or liberation. If we waste this chance, we may fall back into animal births for millions of years. This teaching shows us that all life is sacred. Every creature has a soul inside. The ant walking on the ground was once like us. The tree in our yard may one day become human. When we understand this, we treat all creatures with respect. We see that we are all connected in the great wheel of life. But we must not waste our human birth. We must use it to grow spiritually. We must control our desires. We must do good deeds. We must remember God. We must seek the company of holy people. We must study sacred books. If we do these things, this human birth will be our last birth. The scriptures warn us clearly. Human birth is precious beyond measure. To waste it on only eating, sleeping, and pleasure is the greatest tragedy. Such waste may send us back to animal births for countless ages. Therefore, every day, we must remember how fortunate we are and use this gift wisely. Part 4. Bonds of Family and Destiny. The soul does not travel alone through its many births. Deep bonds connect all living beings across lifetimes. These connections form the web of relationships we experience as family, friends, and even enemies. Nothing happens by chance in this sacred plan. When we are born into a family, it is not random. The souls of parents and children have met before in past lives. They carry debts called rinas between them. These debts must be paid through love, service, or lessons learned together. A mother may have been helped by this soul in a previous birth. Now she gives birth to that same soul to return the kindness. The Puranas tell us that every relationship serves a purpose. The husband who causes pain may be teaching his wife patience and strength. The child who brings joy may be repaying love received long ago. The difficult relative who creates problems may be helping the family learn forgiveness. Each person in our life appears as our teacher in disguise. Some souls are bound by love that draws them back together, birth after birth. They cannot bear to be separated. These souls choose to be born in the same families repeatedly. They may be husband and wife in one life, then mother and son in the next, then brother and sister after that. The forms change, but the connection remains. Other souls are bound by anger or hatred. They too return to the same families or communities to resolve their conflicts. The person who cheated you may be born as your business partner, so you can learn to forgive. The enemy who harmed you may become your child, so you can show mercy. Until these negative emotions are healed, the souls remain trapped together. The scriptures explain that even our adversaries are gifts from God. They force us to grow spiritually. They test our patience, compassion, and wisdom. Without challenges, the soul would never develop strength. Every difficult person in our life is helping us burn away our past karma and move closer to liberation. Understanding this truth changes how we see our family duties. Caring for aging parents is not a burden, but a sacred opportunity to repay old debts. Raising children becomes spiritual practice, not just biological responsibility. Even conflicts with relatives serve the divine purpose of teaching us Dharma. The wise person accepts their family circumstances with peace. They know that every joy and sorrow comes from their own past actions. They do their duties without complaint, seeing each task as service to God. They treat family members with respect, knowing these souls have traveled with them through many lifetimes. This knowledge brings great comfort during difficult times. When family members suffer or die, we understand that their souls continue their journey according to divine law. The relationships that truly matter will continue in future births. The bonds of pure love can never be broken by death. By performing our family duties with devotion and patience, we transform ordinary household life into spiritual practice. Each act of service becomes an offering to the divine. Through this understanding, family life itself becomes a path to liberation. Part 5. The Threshold of Opportunity. Human birth stands as the greatest treasure among all possible births. The sacred texts declare that even the gods envy those born as humans, for only in human form can the soul achieve liberation from the wheel of rebirth. This precious opportunity comes rarely after countless births in lower forms. The wise know that human life is not meant for mere enjoyment of pleasures or accumulation of wealth. Such pursuits bind the soul deeper into the cycle of birth and death. Instead, this birth serves as the divine gateway to freedom. The Supreme Lord has granted human beings the capacity for discrimination, the ability to choose between right and wrong, and the power to transcend their animal nature. Those who waste this golden chance by living like animals, driven only by eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, fall back into lowered births. They return as beasts, birds, or insects, where spiritual progress becomes impossible. Such souls must wait through millions of births before another human opportunity arrives. The scriptures teach 4 paths that transform ordinary human life into spiritual achievement. Through righteous action performed without attachment to results, one purifies the mind. Through devotion to the divine, the heart melts in love and surrender. Through meditation and yoga, one directly experiences the true self within. Through knowledge and inquiry, one realizes the illusion of separateness from the Supreme. Even those bound by worldly duties can practice spiritual discipline. The householder who performs family responsibilities as service to God advances on the spiritual path. The merchant who conducts business with honesty and charity gains merit. The ruler who governs with justice and compassion serves the divine will. Every moment of human existence offers chances for spiritual growth. Speaking truthfully, showing kindness to all beings, controlling anger and greed, studying sacred texts, serving holy persons. These simple practices gradually purify the consciousness. Even small acts performed with spiritual intention create positive karma. Death may come at any time, making this present moment precious beyond measure. The soul that has not prepared through spiritual practice faces rebirth according to its dominant thoughts and desires at the time of leaving the body. Those filled with material attachments return to material existence. Those who remember the divine at death journey toward divine realms. Therefore, the wise use every breath in human form for spiritual advancement. They know that millions of births led to this opportunity, and millions more may pass before it returns. This understanding fills them with urgency and dedication to achieve the highest goal of existence. The human form alone possesses the intelligence to question its true nature, the discrimination to follow Dharma, and the capacity to realize its eternal relationship with the Supreme. This makes human birth the threshold of infinite possibility, where bondage transforms into freedom and ignorance gives way to eternal wisdom. Chapter 4, Beyond the Cycle, The Quest for Liberation, Part 1, Liberation as the Goal of Life. Listen, O Arjuna, to these words of eternal truth. There are 4 great purposes in human life: Dharma, which is righteous duty; Artha, which is material gain; Kama, which is pleasure; and Moksha, which is liberation. Of these 4, Moksha stands highest, like the crown jewel among precious stones. What is this moksha, you ask? It is the complete freedom of the soul from all bondage. It is release from the endless wheel of birth and death, from the chain of karma that binds all beings. When the soul attains moksha, it breaks free from samsara forever. The wise know that worldly pleasures pass like shadows at sunset. Wealth crumbles like sand in the wind. Even the highest positions of power fade with time. But moksha is eternal. It does not come and go like the seasons. It is not temporary like heaven or hell, where souls dwell for a time before returning to earth. In moksha, the soul realizes its true nature. Some say it merges with Brahman, the infinite reality, like a drop of water joining the vast ocean. Others say it finds eternal service at the feet of the Supreme Lord, swimming in oceans of divine love. Still others describe it as pure bliss, beyond all joy and sorrow known in this world. The soul in moksha is like a bird released from its cage. No longer does it struggle against the bars of desire and attachment. No longer does it suffer the pain of separation from its true home. The chains of ignorance break, and the soul sees clearly for the first time. This liberation is not something new that the soul gains. Rather, it is the return to what the soul always was. Like gold hidden under layers of dirt, the soul's divine nature shines forth when the coverings of Maya are removed. The soul remembers, I am not this body. I am not these thoughts. I am eternal spirit, beyond birth and death. Without this highest goal, human life becomes like a ship without direction, tossed by waves of temporary pleasure and pain. But when the soul seeks moksha, every action gains meaning. Every breath serves a sacred purpose. Life becomes a spiritual journey, not merely a chase after fleeting rewards. Those who understand this truth live differently. They perform their duties but without attachment to results. They enjoy life's gifts but do not cling to them. They face troubles with equanimity, knowing they are temporary visitors in an eternal drama. This is why the scriptures declare moksha as life's supreme aim. All other goals serve this highest purpose, like servants attending their master. When the soul finally attains this liberation, it has fulfilled the very reason for its existence. Part 2. Paths of Transcendence. The Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna about the different ways a person can reach the highest truth and freedom from birth and death. Listen, Arjuna, there are many paths that lead to me, like rivers flowing to the same ocean. Each person can choose the path that suits their nature and heart. Some souls find their way through action. This is called karma yoga. They work without wanting the results for themselves. They offer all their deeds to the divine. When you act without selfish desires, your actions become pure. This purifies the heart and mind. The worker becomes free from the chains that bind the soul to repeated births. Others seek truth through knowledge. This is jnana yoga. They study the scriptures and think deeply about who they really are. They ask, who am I beyond this body and mind? Through steady thinking and learning, they discover that the true self is eternal and one with the divine. When this wisdom becomes clear, ignorance disappears like darkness before light. Many find their path through love and devotion. This is bhakti yoga. They worship with pure hearts, singing prayers and offering flowers. They remember the divine name always. Their love grows stronger each day. When the heart fills with devotion, all selfish thoughts fade away. The devoted soul becomes absorbed in divine love and reaches the highest goal. Some choose the path of meditation. This is Raja Yoga. They sit quietly and control their breath and mind. They turn their attention inward, away from the world's distractions. Through steady practice, the mind becomes still like a calm lake. In this silence, they see their true nature clearly. All these paths lead to the same destination. They are like different roads climbing the same mountain. Whether through action, knowledge, devotion, or meditation, the sincere seeker reaches freedom from suffering. The wise person may practice all these methods together. Action done with knowledge, love, and a peaceful mind becomes most powerful. But even following one path with complete faith brings success. Each soul must choose according to its nature. Some are naturally active and should follow karma yoga. Others love to study and think deeply, so jnana yoga suits them. Those with loving hearts should walk the path of devotion. People who can sit quietly should practice meditation. All these methods destroy the ignorance that keeps souls trapped in birth and death. They weaken the desires that create karma and future births. When practiced sincerely, any path awakens the soul to its divine nature. The goal of every path is the same: to realize that you are not separate from the eternal truth. When this happens, the soul becomes free from the cycle of birth and death forever. Therefore, choose your path according to your nature, but walk it with complete dedication. Whether through selfless work, deep thinking, loving worship, or quiet meditation, you will surely reach the highest goal and find eternal peace. Part 3. Attainment of Brahmaloka and beyond. When a soul walks the path of meditation with pure heart, it rises after death to Brahmaloka, the sacred realm where Brahma, the Creator, dwells. This is not the end of the journey, but a station on the way to perfect freedom. In Brahmaloka, the devoted soul finds peace and wisdom. Here, surrounded by divine light and knowledge, it waits through countless ages until the great dissolution comes. When the entire universe dissolves back into the source, these souls merge into the infinite reality that never changes. This shows us that the afterlife has many levels. Those who practice spiritual disciplines while living do not simply go to one place after death. Their efforts lift them higher and higher through subtler realms of existence. But some souls, through deep devotion and pure knowledge, pass beyond even Brahmaloka. They do not wait for the universe to end. Instead, they merge directly with Brahman, the eternal truth that is beyond all forms and names. Others, filled with loving devotion to their chosen deity, enter the eternal abode of that divine being, where they serve and worship in perfect bliss forever. These are not just different destinations. They are stages of ascent that show how far the soul can travel when it turns away from worldly desires and seeks the divine. Each level of spiritual effort in life corresponds to a realm after death. The cosmos itself has layers, from the gross physical world we know to the most subtle spiritual dimensions. Those who meditate deeply, worship sincerely, or gain true knowledge about their divine nature can traverse these layers both in life and after death. Some texts speak of souls who, through years of meditation and self-discipline, become so pure that they skip the lower heavenly realms entirely. At the moment of death, they pass straight to the highest spiritual dimensions, or merge immediately with the supreme reality. This progressive ascent reveals the mercy and justice of the divine order. No sincere spiritual effort is wasted. Every moment spent in meditation, every prayer offered with genuine love, every act done without selfish desire creates the power to lift the soul higher after death. The ultimate goal remains the same for all: to go beyond the cycle of birth and death completely. Whether this happens gradually through ascending realms or directly through immediate merger with the divine depends on the depth of the soul's spiritual realization and the purity of its devotion. Part 4. The State of Moksha. When all karmic debts are paid and all desires have ceased, the soul reaches moksha. This is the final goal of all existence. It is complete freedom from birth, death, and all suffering. The sacred texts say that in moksha, the individual soul discovers it was never separate from the supreme reality. Like a wave realizing it was always the ocean, the soul knows its true nature as Brahman itself. All sense of being limited, bound, or different disappears forever. Those who follow the path of devotion describe moksha differently. They see it as eternal service to their beloved deity. In this state, the soul lives in constant joy, always close to the divine presence. There is no fear, no want, no sorrow. Only pure love and bliss remain. Moksha exists beyond time and space. It has no beginning and no end. The soul that reaches this state never experiences birth or death again. Pain and pleasure, gain and loss, honor and disgrace, all these pairs of opposites mean nothing to the liberated soul. This freedom is not a place where souls go. It is not like heaven, which has boundaries and duration. Moksha is a state of consciousness. It is the soul's natural condition, revealed when all false ideas about the self are removed. The texts compare reaching moksha to waking from a long dream. In the dream, a person might suffer greatly, thinking they are poor, sick, or in danger. But upon waking, they realize none of it was real. They were always safe in their bed. Similarly, the soul realizes it was never truly bound, never truly separate from the divine. This awakening can happen gradually or suddenly. Some souls prepare through many lifetimes of spiritual practice. Others receive the grace to see the truth instantly. But once moksha is attained, there is no going back to ignorance. The liberated soul sees the same supreme reality in all beings. A blade of grass and the greatest sage appear as equal expressions of the one divine consciousness. This vision brings complete peace and compassion for all creation. In moksha, individual will merges with divine will. The soul wants nothing for itself because it lacks nothing. It acts only as an instrument of the Supreme, serving the welfare of all existence without any sense of personal doership. Part 5. The Eternal Return or Final Release. The wise ones teach that liberation can come in two ways. Some souls find freedom while they still live in their bodies. This is called living liberation. These blessed souls walk among us, but inside they are completely free. They have cut all the ropes that tie the soul to suffering and rebirth. Such liberated souls may look like ordinary people. They eat, sleep, and speak with others, but their hearts are filled with divine knowledge. They see the same eternal truth in a small ant and in the greatest king. All fear has left them. All anger has gone away. They feel perfect peace in every moment. When their bodies die, these souls do not take birth again. They have broken free from the wheel of death and rebirth forever. They merge into the supreme reality, like rivers flowing into the ocean. Other souls find liberation only when they leave their bodies at death. This is called final release at death. These devoted souls spend their whole lives in prayer, good deeds, and seeking truth. When death comes, they are ready. Their souls fly straight to the eternal home, never to return to earthly birth. But here is a beautiful truth. Some liberated souls, though completely free, choose to come back to earth. Why do they return when they could stay in perfect bliss? They return because of love. They see other souls still trapped in suffering and ignorance. Their hearts fill with compassion. These great souls take birth again not because they must, but because they want to help. They become teachers, guides, and protectors of those who still struggle. They show the path to freedom through their words and their lives. Like a mother who cannot rest while her children are in pain, they cannot remain in heavenly peace while others suffer. This shows us that liberation is not selfish. The truly free soul does not think only of itself. Liberation brings such great love that the freed soul wants to share its gift with all creation. The scriptures say that whenever the world becomes dark with evil and ignorance, these compassionate souls appear. They come as kings, as teachers, as simple farmers. They remind humanity of its divine nature. They light the lamp of wisdom in human hearts. Some of these returning souls remember their true nature from birth. Others seem to discover it slowly through their earthly life. But all of them serve the same purpose. They are divine gifts to humanity, bridges between heaven and earth. This teaching gives hope to all seekers. Liberation is not just escape from suffering. It is the opening of the heart to serve all life. The highest freedom leads to the highest service. In this way, each soul that finds liberation helps lift all creation toward the same blessed goal.